AB 2509, which is side-by-side bicycling, is a bill that allows bicyclists within the bike lane to ride side-by-side. This is no different than how motorcyclists are allowed to ride side-by-side. And as you'll recall, motorcyclists now can actually lane split. So again, we're not saying that this is something that we are telling everyone they can do. But again, it's very typical that when you bicycle, you're bicycling with family members, friends, even your children, to be able to ride side by side with them in the same lane. Again, this is something that we do quite often in everyday society, and respectfully ask for a vote.
I'll move approval, Mr. Chair.
We have Mr. Daly and Mr. Dodd, first and a second. Do you have any witnesses in support, Mr. Ting? Please proceed. State your name and who you represent, please.
Jeannie Wardwaller with the California Bicycle Coalition. We're sponsors of this bill and really appreciate Mr. Ting and his being a champion of bicycling issues in the state of California. We have significant state goals to double and triple the number of bicyclists on the road. This is a sustainable, healthy form of transportation. We particularly want to make our roads safe enough for children to be on the road, riding with their families. And I think particularly when you think of families riding together, it is really important that parents can actually ride next to their child instead of in front of or behind, so they can keep an eye on them and make sure they're, safe from moving vehicles. So we think this bill gets to that. It also updates the vehicle code to reflect recent additions of different classes of bikeways, such as protected bikeways that, again, provide that safe physical barrier from traffic for bicyclists. So this bill is an important update to making roads safer for bicyclists around the state. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, James Lombardo on behalf of the California Association of Bicycle Organizations, and we're in support.
Any other witnesses from the public like to testify in support of the author's bill? Seeing none, any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Seeing none, any questions? Assemblymember Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have some questions, particularly about how this does make it safer for bicyclists. So that's the number one concern that I would have, less so comfort and convenience, but more exclusively safety. And I actually reached out to several of the bicyclists in my district who we've been working with closely on issues of cars passing bicyclists on Mount Diablo, where they are dealing with the possibility of going over a double line, and it's a horrible safety problem. And the concern is that bicycles are passing each other, so they're not riding in a single file line, and it's actually that on top of vehicles' behavior is creating a very dangerous situation. First of all, does this bill allow the bicycles to get outside of the bike lane and into the vehicular traffic in multiple stacks?
To that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, bicyclists are now, based on current law, allowed to bike in the travel lane. That's legal.
Well, I mean, but current law is to preferably be in single file. At least this is what I tell my kids. I may be wrong, but that's what I've been telling them. And how is the driver who is coming up on bicyclists who are coming out of the bicycle lane and well into the vehicular traffic and multiple bikes, how is that driver to safely pass, to know the predictability of what those bikes are going to do? I'm trying to figure out how it's going to make it safer, because I don't see it. I'm very concerned, as my constituents were, that this is actually going to be more dangerous.
I can speak to that a little bit more. Bicyclists are now, there's nothing that says you have to ride single file. We're just trying to clarify, where it is safe to ride side by side, clarify that bikeways are, one of those places, and California is investing significant amount of funding in creating more bikeways so that there actually is clearly delineated space between the bicyclists and the vehicles. And so we're just trying to be explicit about where that is allowed and clarify the issue. I think, to speak specifically to your question, I think if bicyclists are riding side by side and actually impeding vehicle travel, the slow-moving vehicle code would then apply, and at some point they actually do have to move out of the roadway so as to not have vehicles be essentially backing up behind them. And that's the same sort of law that would apply to, someone towing a trailer and moving slowly, or any other vehicle on the road.
I understand. That's part of exactly what has made Mount Diablo State Park and its roads very, very dangerous, incredibly dangerous for bicyclists. and is that eventually, maybe that's what's supposed to happen, but what really happens is that vehicles end up going over the line, and oncoming traffic either hits the vehicle or hits a bicyclist. And that's my concern with this, is I don't see the protections. I'm also wondering, what is the great need? Certainly, much of the reports I saw were, this is comfortable, this is going to be convenient, but where is the need for this to happen?
Well, I think, again, we have a number of state goals around trying to encourage bicycling, double or triple the current mode share that we have. I think that achieves a number of other state goals related to climate change and public health and more livable communities. So as we are building more bikeways, which, we certainly would like to see more investment in actually creating this separated space for bicyclists, I think this does create, a level of comfort to tell bicyclists, indicate to them that you are, allowed to be safe and comfortable and ride together on the road, which particularly for brand new riders, people who may not be the, Mount Diablo folks who are cycling up there that are putting down hundreds of miles every week, people riding with their families or who are brand new to commuting to work, they do need the law to tell them that, we're okay with you riding together and being safe and comfortable on the road. So I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Any other questions of the committee of the author or his witnesses? Mr. Mathis?
I'm just more curious. I completely agree with cycling. I have relatives that cycle all the time. It's a great way to get out and exercise, and 101 things I could say about cycling. My concern here is, as we do this, I don't see any provisions. So, I can understand riding with your family and having people coupled up and going down on somewhere that's 25 mile an hour zone or 35 mile an hour zone, something like that, where vehicles are moving slowly. But when you expedite this up to highways and things of this nature, then I start seeing difficulty where we run into high speed vehicles versus low speed vehicles, and just kind of wondering, have you looked at something like that, Mr. Ting? Or that's my largest concern, is the safety of these people as the vehicles start moving at a higher rate of speed.
And my response to you, sir, would just be that there are communities, many communities in California, where people have no choice. They maybe can't drive and be one of the high-speed vehicles on the street. So if you're riding with your family and taking your kid to school and that's your only mode of transportation, what are we going to tell those folks? In the absence of actually building a bikeway, a separate, lane for those people to be actually physically separated from traffic, what other option do they have? So we're just trying to create protection for those folks.
Where I'm in agreement with you, because those are lower speed traffic areas versus
not necessarily. Unfortunately, not
phrase.
necessarily.
I was also just going to quickly add, if you've ever had a chance to go through Mr. Dodd's district, especially in Napa on the weekends, it's quite common where you're on very many of the highways or roads, and you see a number of cyclists primarily going through there recreationally or just transporting themselves. So again, we can't legislate every piece of judgment. I think what we're trying to do is allow behavior, but again, everyone has to use their best judgment. And I don't know that any bicyclist, and you know this from your relatives, is I don't think any bicyclist would ever try to take on a car because they know they're going to lose that fight. So again, it's trying to allow having that judgment take place.
Any other questions from the committee of the author? Seeing none. Mr. Ting?
Just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. So I'll be supporting your bill, and the author of the CEQA exemption for bike lane safety, which was paramount in your city, to be able to provide signage and striping that was actually challenged through CEQA to be able to save lives. We've done the 3-foot rule through legislation. We've done many aspects of trying to be kind of partners in co-equal existence on our existing infrastructure. Bicycles and cars are sharing the roads now more than ever, as we've stated. We need to ensure the behavior expectations of both a motorist and cyclist is abundantly clear. I urge you to work with the CHP on this issue, and as this bill moves forward to further provide clarity as some of the questions that this committee has asked, so everyone understands the rules of the road and can stay safe. With that, I'll be voting aye on your bill and look forward to you being productive and making our biking safer. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is do pass. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Linder?
No.
Linder, no. Baker? Baker, no. Bloom? Brown? Brown, aye. Chu? Chu, aye. Daly? Daly, aye. Dodd? Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia? Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez? Kim? Kim, no. Mathis? Mathis, no. Medina? Medina, aye. Melendez? Melendez, no. Nazarian? O'Donnell.
Your bill has 7. We're going to leave the roll open for absent members. Mr. Ting?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Calderon. AB 1710. Please proceed when you're ready. Good afternoon, Mr. Calderon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. AB 1710 seeks to solidify the state's long-term commitment to advance the vehicle technology deployment in order to achieve our clean air and climate goals. While the state has a number of goals to put over 1 million zero-emission vehicles on the road by the mid-2020s, the incentive-based programs we currently use are not sustainable and don't provide an opportunity for low to moderate income individuals to participate in the clean vehicle market. AB 1710 looks at revising our state incentive program for light-duty vehicles for 2018 and beyond. It allows the state to transition away from a first-come, first-serve incentive program administered by the Air Resources Board and helps take the bureaucratic process out of the clean vehicle market. Specifically, the program establishes an income tax deduction for consumers who purchase new zero and near zero emission vehicles. It also establishes a sales tax exemption that will primarily be used by middle and lower income consumers who seek to buy a used, and that's a new, used and near zero emission vehicle. This bill anticipates a smaller, more targeted rebate program that could be funded by the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. This approach would sunset in 2026 after the state is supposed to meet its 1.5 million zero-emission vehicle goal, and we are at a place where the economy of scale for these vehicles will be on par with traditional non-zero emission vehicles. I believe in clean vehicle access for all Californians, and this is what this bill is about. Therefore, this program does not replace the existing state programs that assist low-income drivers. I am simply trying to advance a thoughtful and sustainable program that in 2018 replaces our current first-come, first-serve rebate program. Essentially, we have these goals that we've set for ourselves in the state, and I don't believe that we've taken the time to actually figure out how we're going to get there.
Move the bill.
Thank you, and I think the goal of this is to figure out how we're going to get there, and a big part of being able to get there is having low to moderate income individuals be able to have an incentive to buy into the program. Thank you. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. And with me today to testify in support is Reed Addis from CalSTART, Ivan Altamura representing the Global Auto Manufacturer Association, and Gene Urban representing the Alliance of Automobile Manufacturers. Thank you.
Please proceed. State your name and who you represent, please.
Thank you, Chair and members. Reed Addis on behalf of CalSTART here in strong support today. Really appreciate this measure. We think it does establish the long-term strategy that the state needs. Not that today we don't have great programs, but we think in the future we need better long-term programs to create the strong market signal. Not only will this program allow for us to have cleaner air, reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, job development, but we think all Californians will benefit. That's why we're here today, to provide strong support. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Ivan Altamura with Capital Advocacy on behalf of Global Automakers. We're very pleased to be here today to support the Assembly member and AB 1710. We think it's an important commitment to addressing the need to build and sustain a robust ZEV market. Global automakers, manufacturers represent 57% of new car sales in California and 79% of all green vehicles that are sold in our state. We continue to invest billions of dollars in alternative fuel and green technology vehicles in an effort to reach the target goals set by Governor Brown in his executive order to reach 1.5 million ZEVs sold by 2025. And we believe AB 1710 is a laudable effort to further support the current efforts underway by the state. We believe that investing in ZEV incentives is critical to achieving the goal of the state, and we think that it cannot be reached. This goal cannot be reached without significant ongoing support by the state. Under the ZEV mandate, 15% of all new vehicles must be ZEVs must be ZEVs by 2025. In 2015, it only accounted for 2.8% of the total market, so we have a long way to go. 2015 was the largest year for automotive vehicle sales in the country. There were overall, though, the percentage of sales went down on ZEVs compared to 2014 when it was 3.1%. So even though we had the biggest year ever, we had a drop in ZEV sales. We support, Global Automakers supports measures that build a broad-based, sustainable ZEV market, and we also believe that alone we cannot build a sustainable, robust market. It takes the efforts of the state. We have seen in states like Georgia where they did away with their $5,000 ZEV tax credit in July of 2015, that by October of 2015 sales fell by 89%. And so we believe that that substantial ongoing state support is needed in order to build the market and meet the challenges that we face in reaching our 2025 ZEV goals. So for these reasons and others stated, Global Automakers is in strong support of AB 1710 and request your support as well.
Mr. Calderon, I'll remind you that you have a due support, so your witness might be brief.
I represent the Alliance of Automobile Manufacturers. I have a short remarks. We support the bill. Thank you.
Any other testimony of the public in favor of the author's bill? Seeing none. Any?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Sean Henschel here on behalf of Alta Motors, a Bay Area plug-in motorcycle company and California Competes Awards winner. We're also in strong support. We thank the Majority Leader for his efforts on this issue.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who would like to testify in support? Please state your name and who you represent, please.
Jones with Sierra Club, California, in support.
Thank you. Any members of the public that would like to testify in opposition to the author's bill? Seeing none, any members of the committee that have any questions? Mr. Mathis.
So these new Teslas are selling at $35,000. In 1 week, they have 325,000 set to be sold. Now, how does your bill work with this? Because what I'm seeing is it sounds like industry is already kind of making steps to move this way. So how does your bill affect that, and what's going on with those sales there, and how are those people going to be affected?
$35,000 is an expensive car, especially when you come to my community. I'm sure it's expensive for a lot of people that are in your community. And so what we need are those individuals in lower moderate income levels to have an opportunity to get into these vehicles. I mean, the reality is you can't convince somebody to like a car if they don't like the car. But what we need is some type of an incentive program, especially on the lower end, to allow people to get into a clean air vehicle. And right now, when you have gas prices that are low, and you have the current program, which is doing a good job of helping people, get into Teslas, that's the top part. That's the upper rung of high-wage earners. But in order to reach our goals, we need the folks at the bottom to have buy-in. And in order to get that buy-in, what this bill is trying to do is create an incentive-based program to get them to buy into a clean air vehicle so that we can reach our impending goals.
So, Member Melendez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there was a study done by the University of California, Berkeley, that said that the wealthiest 20% of people in California receive 90% of the tax credits. So that's a lot of wealthy people getting a tax break that they probably don't need. I'm not clear how this is going to. Okay, can I just read to you there's a whole list of incentives for people to get into these vehicles. There's a $7,500 federal tax credit. There are rebates up to $6,500 under the Clean Vehicle Rebate Project. There are vouchers of up to $9,500 under the Enhanced Fleet Modernization Plus Up program. Low-cost loans under the Financing Assistance Pilot Project. $15,000 for electric vehicles under the Car Sharing Pilot Project. So that's a lot of incentive already, yet people still aren't purchasing the number of cars that I think this administration would want them to purchase. So when I look at all these rebates, I'm trying to understand how they can be stacked and they're all separate and distinct. So how do we know we aren't subsidizing 100% of the cost of this car for some people, or that we wouldn't be in the future with your incentive? But as I get what you're trying to do.
Right.
But do you understand what I'm asking?
I think Mr. Urban has a great answer, but I will say, I mean, right now it is a first come, first served basis. So if you're buying a Tesla, those are the folks that are getting the incentives, and those are the folks that can afford it, and they're the ones that are going for it. What we're trying to do is you have an existing pot of money that dries up pretty quick because those trying to buy Teslas are getting them, and they're getting the incentives, they're using up the incentives. So what we're trying to do is create a system where it's more, in terms of an incentive right out of the gate for anybody going in to buy a car, which means that if you're lower income, you go in understanding that you get the incentive regardless. And when it comes to the existing money that is there, having the ARB develop a specific plan to getting some of that money to go to lower moderate income individuals to get into those vehicles. And so that's the point of the bill. But I know, Mr. Urban, you might want to add something.
The CARB recently imposed a new rule. It was in late March, so that truly high upper income people no longer qualify for the rebate. It's the Prop 30 limits, if I recall correctly. So the super wealthy no longer qualify for the rebate. I think that study was done before that rule was imposed. And secondly, you are correct, Assembly Member. You can get as much as $9,500, $10,000 in the South Coast and the Central Valley for low and moderate income purchase of these vehicles. This just expands that program.
And I will say the big difference between right now and what this bill creates is that this bill creates also a program for used vehicles, because even when it comes to Teslas, there's going to be a secondary market, but to provide an incentive for that secondary market helps those also get into them.
Right, but do you understand my question in that given all these other programs that can be used separately and distinctly, that the money could add up so that one wouldn't be paying anything for their car? Is that the goal, or I don't?
No, the goal is to provide the incentives. Now,
right.
I'm more focused on what I'm trying to do for the lower and moderate income individuals here. So when it comes to those that are at the upper end, at the upper scale, I could get back to you with an answer. I don't have an answer to your question, but I'd be more than happy to get back to you.
Mr. Garcia and Ms. Brown.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Calderon. I want to support your bill, if possible, be a co-author. And I'll tell you, we've mentioned Tesla so many times right now, they're probably excited about all the free PR that they're receiving. There is a strong correlation between low-income communities and poor air quality. And so I think this is an important bill in creating greater access for members of my community, the 56-7 District, Imperial Valley, Coachella Valley, to benefit from these types of programs. So I just wanted to thank you for bringing this bill forward. Love to be a co-author with you and appreciate the work that you're doing on this.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown and then Mr. Linder.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. I think my voice has been very loud on this because I do know that our community didn't get any of the vouchers that were given out early on. So I'm happy that you're bringing this forward. Again, I want to be a co-author. I've already told you that. And I just hope that we'll be able to push forward. And if there are programs like this, we need to also figure how we can let people know that those programs are there. So there needs to be some kind of advertising program to those communities that talks about this is available and go get your car.
I think you're 100% right, and that's a big problem when it comes to incentive programs, is people just don't know they exist. A lot of times they show up and it's either there or it's not. So we do have to do a better job of marketing that.
Mr. Linder.
What are the income caps for this tax credit?
Specifically, I don't believe they're in.
No, it's in a CARB rule. I believe it's 500, 375, and 250 single, joint, or head of household and joint. Done.
So the low rung is 250,000?
Correct.
250,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Another way of maybe answering at read with CalSTART is that there's nothing in this bill that actually lays out that number. It leaves it to the Air Resources Board and the provisions under which they have to put together a plan based on SB 1275.
And I will say that the reason why I was shaking my head, because that's not specified in my bill. That's an existing law.
Any other questions of the author or his witnesses? Seeing none, Mr. Culp? Okay.
Just curious, because we're talking about helping the low income in these areas. A lot of those, I represent an extremely rural district. I'm just curious, are you looking at running a follow-up bill with charging stations in these areas where, you know, it's hard for these people to commute back and forth? Not only are they stuck with low income and other things, but there aren't, in my district, we have like 2 areas that have charging stations. And I mean, you have places like Olivino County up to 395 and other areas like that where people are driving from LA to go up to Mammoth. Are we looking at what are we going to do for those people to get them essentially plugged in?
I agree with you. There is a massive practicality issue when it comes to these types of vehicles in terms of charging. You're going to be hearing a bill later that does deal with start charging stations kind of around the same area from Mr. Gray and Mr. Ting. So I encourage you to ask them those questions. But I will say that in terms of my own issues, when it comes to my community, I live at a condo. I don't have a garage, and so I have to have. And I have nowhere to plug in my cord in order to charge my vehicle. If I had an electric vehicle, I have had my car broken into twice where I live. So reasonable to assume that if I had a cord out there connected to my car, probably be stolen. So I do agree that there are issues when it comes to the practicality of electric vehicles. But this is why I'm doing this bill, and I've got a couple other bills when it comes to 21st century infrastructure investment, because I think we've set these goals for ourselves, and they're lofty goals, and I think we all want to reach them, clean air and everything else, but we haven't really figured out the path and how we're going to do that. And that's why this committee is so important, because that's infrastructure, that's investment, and we all need to commit to making that investment to reach those goals. But I appreciate your statement.
So, Mr. Calderon, I'm going to take that as your close.
Thank you.
So we do have a first from Assemblymember Brown and a second by Assemblymember Medina. I will tell you, thank you, Mr. Calderon, for bringing this bill forward. I'll be supporting it today and look forward to you progressing through the process. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Assembly Revenue and Taxation Committee. Frazier?
Aye.
Frazier, aye. Linder?
No.
Linder, no. Baker? Aye. Baker, aye. Bloom? Brown? Brown, aye. Chu? Chu, aye. Daly? Daly, aye. Dodd? Dodd, aye. Eduardo Garcia? Eduardo Garcia, aye. Gomez? Kim? Mathis? Mathis, no. Medina? Medina, aye. Melendez? Melendez, no. Nazarian? O'Donnell? O'Donnell, aye.
Mr. Calderon, your bill has 9 votes. We'll keep the roll open for absent members, and thank you for acknowledging this is the most important committee in the House.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.